Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Yet another video is making the rounds on social media showing a woman in a compromising situation. The woman, who is reportedly mentally challenged, was filmed in the nude and she appears to be sedated. The sergeant in charge of the Vulnerable Persons Unit says while no official complaint has been made, the situation is being investigated.
A disturbing video is making the rounds on social media of a young and mentally unsound woman from the East Coast in the nude, laying on a couch with an elder man explaining that it is not the first time that he has had her in that position and that he is quote-unquote in charge. In the video, the young woman appears to be in a comatose state and it is not immediately clear as to whether she is sleeping, drunk, or in a drug-induced coma. Members in the community where the incident transpired say it is a well-known fact that the young lady is a vulnerable individual. The sergeant of the Vulnerable People's Team, Yolanda Stanislas Leon, says the family of the individual should launch a formal complaint on behalf of the victim.
The family of this young woman should come in and make a report on her behalf. There is a video being circulated, as you said. I have not seen the video, but there is a video being circulated. We will take baby steps. Whatever needs to be done in terms of an investigation for this particular case, the Vulnerable Persons Team. However, since it happened in the East Coast of the island, it would be the Vulnerable Persons Team in the South. They will be the one handling it and not the Vulnerable Persons Team in the North. So I would urge the family members to make a report on behalf of this person who is in the video.
Leo says on one hand, while the videos may serve as evidence, the oversharing of videos and pictures of victims of such unfortunate events is an offense. She has urged members of the public to bring such matters to the attention of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force rather than circulate them on social media.
In matters where you find videos are being circulated publicly depicting photos, nude photos, or photos where young persons or vulnerable members of society are engaged in sexual activity. The Computer Misuse Act says that it's an offense to circulate, to disseminate such videos. And I find that it is a trend in St. Lucia that a video is sent to them, they send it to another friend, they send it to, and it is being circulated. How would you feel if it was your child or a family member? How would you feel? It is an offense, and the fine is hefty under the Computer Misuse Act. So I want to employ St. Lucians out there that when you come across such videos, do not disseminate it.
One of the biggest criticisms of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is that matters are always under investigation, yet there never seems to be any solid outcome. Leo says the VPT has many success stories. However, due to the sensitivity of the majority of the cases, the outcome cannot be broadcast.
When a matter of such, because of the nature of the offense, we cannot go out there and say he was given 15, 20 years for having sex with a minor or whatnot. But we do have successes in our cases. It's just because of the nature of the offenses, we cannot speak about it publicly. Like you'd speak about a homicide. You'd say, well, you know, Jack Brown, Thomas, whatever, was killed or whatever. You cannot do such for sexual offenses. But we do have successes.
It must be noted that there is a fine of $50,000 if anyone does anything to reveal the identity of a sexually abused victim. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Although the Royal St. Lucia Police Force issued a warning over the weekend reinforcing that the island is still under a state of emergency and that there should be no mass crowd gatherings or protests, members of both political parties were seen out and about in small protests or celebrations. An incident was captured on video showing what could have been a catastrophic clash between a pickup with individuals clad in yellow and pedestrians in red. The video has since gone viral on social media, with many calling for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to get involved. On Wednesday, Police Commissioner Milton Daisy was asked whether he was aware of the situation and whether the police is investigating the matter.
Well, I'm not saying there's none. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm not aware. I saw it in the media. I'm not saying they are using police to play political game. I'm saying I cannot report on this now. Okay, Mr. Nicholas was there. That's why I asked you all to check with him. He's in charge of crime. He's the officer in charge of crime. He would know, not me.
Daisy says he is unaware of any report being made and he was made aware of the situation via social media like everyone else. Just over 1 week after a male escaped custody of the Castries City Police holding cells, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is admitting that the same cells have been used in the past by the RSLPF. Deputy Commissioner of Police Wayne Shari says this has been one of the few options exercised by officers, albeit only for temporary stints.
Concerns have been raised about the safety of citizens from local criminals after it has been revealed that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force uses the holding cells of the Castries City Police Constabulary to temporarily house arrested individuals. Just over 1 week ago, a wellness center patient escaped custody for burglarizing a popular supermarket chain in the city before he was apprehended by city police. On Wednesday, Deputy Commissioner of Police Wayne Shallery was asked if there was any truth to the news that the RSLPF has used the same holding cells in the past. This was his response.
My information indicated that we have done that from time to time, from the time the custody suites was demolished. We've used Masha mainly and other police stations with holding cells, and the CCC at times we've had to use it because it's quite close to the city, and in terms of being very close by, and the facility has been used. This is my information.
Shallery stressed the fact that this is not a common practice. He also explained that efforts are being made to source better housing options.
We are not using the CCC as our main holding cell. I'm saying from time to time it has been used because it is very close proximity to our CID and our central police station. So you imagine that you've arrested somebody, say on Bridge Street or on Jeremy Street, and you need to take them across. You may not have a vehicle. That would be the easiest place to take them across, at least to start the preliminaries. We've not used it extensively. I believe we've used it as an emergency situation right there in the city. So we are exploring other options and other locations. I believe strongly that we need a holding facility in the city, and I'll be very happy when we have one.
The CCC has since vowed to beef up security at the CCC holding cells to ensure that such a situation doesn't reoccur. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
St. Jude Hospital workers have been clamoring for better working conditions and pay. Their bargaining agent, the National Workers Union, says after months of negotiations with the Ministry of Health and other relevant authorities, the workers will be receiving what is due to them in terms of back pay and hopefully better working conditions sooner rather than later.
Health authorities and union representatives on Monday averted a likely industrial dispute involving health workers at the St. Jude's Hospital in the south of the island. Over the years, workers at the hospital have complained about poor working conditions and proper pay for their services. Last week, some staff staged a sick-out, which resulted in a huge inconvenience to patients at the hospital. The Deputy President General of the National Workers Union, which is the bargaining agent for workers at the hospital, Solis Myers, says an amicable decision was reached and workers will be granted what they have been clamoring for.
So they will be getting the lump sum payment of $1,800. They'll also be getting their uniform allowance, which was due to them since April. We were able to get finalization on that. As it relates to the conditions of work, we all know that they'll be transitioning hopefully very soon into the new site. So what we are embarking on, along with management, is a reclassification process which will look at all of the jobs, all of the functions, qualifications, years of service, etc., to make sure that people are actually compensated for the functions that they do. So right now we're in the process of gathering all of the information so we could have that document ready, so when we reconvene around August, we'll be on a better and more firm footing to start off and push forward. Hopefully they would have at least moved in or start moving into the new building by that time.
Myers explained that there are still other terms that may need to be smoothed over. However, after so long, workers and the union are both pleased with how far the negotiations have come.
Workers at St. Jude Hospital, they were really happy in terms of the outcome. They've gone through a lot over the years, a lot of sacrifice and a lot of commitment to the job, especially operating under conditions in the south, that being the stadium. We're really happy that we were able to get some headway and see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel as we continue to make sure that that they get their issues addressed, and we have some sort of proper process to go forward to start making sure that their salaries are addressed, their positions are addressed, etc.
The amount, which represents the back pay owed to the workers, is expected to be paid by month end. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
A women's advocacy group is seeing to it that vulnerable women and girls are treated with the utmost respect and dignity. Raise Your Voice St. Lucia on Wednesday donated a space where these girls and women are better able to share about their ordeals at the Vulnerable Persons Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force.
As incidents of gender-based violence continue to rise, especially throughout this COVID-19 era, the importance of having a safe space for victims to debrief is even more important. Debriefing is essential to helping victims share what actually happened and providing their support when necessary. It is for this reason that Raise Your Voice St. Lucia saw it fit to provide the Vulnerable Persons Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force with a refurbished room for that purpose. Member of Raise Your Voice St. Lucia, Alberto Richelieu, says the room will allow for a more welcoming environment during disclosures, debriefings, and counseling sessions.
The funding for this project was provided through the Women Voice and Leadership Project under the Equality Fund funded by the Government of Canada. While this action has been small, we believe that it is in fact a significant step towards ensuring the proper administration of justice where vulnerable persons are concerned. We are more than delighted to welcome every person here this morning, and we are calling not only for change by words, but change by action. Action that will promote the mental, physical, emotional, and overall well-being of generations to come, particularly women and children.
Commissioner of Police Milton Daisy says the gesture by the organization is welcomed with open arms.
As you know, victims of sexual abuse, other physical abuse, young persons who are vulnerable, they need to be settled to relay their whatever information to the police. As you realize, the members of that team, police officers, they are not dressed in uniform, which would be intimidating to these victims. So they are dressed in plain clothes, just to encourage that relaxing moment for those victims, because persons who have gone through trauma, it is very difficult for them to relay a story. And for matters to go to court, you must have statements. You must have statements to prove whatever allegation that is being made against those individuals.
Members of the Vulnerable Persons Unit assure that the room will be utilized effectively. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Stay with us, there's more news after the break.